Ma'am Hana. Ma'am Hana from Bepso.
Yes, sir. Are we set
Mag-try
na
ka po.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Do you view na po my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Time check, ladies and gentlemen. It's already 1:52 in the afternoon. So since po we had prepared presentations for later, let us first have the choosing or the order of the presentations for later. So could I please share my screen? Thank you po. Okay, thank you so much. So nakikita niyo na po yung screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, thank you. So let's start po picking who will have to go first for later. Okay, so everyone is excited, I think. So let's have our lucky first presenter. Ayan po, and we have our first presenter, SSU or the Samar State University. And so let's choose the second. Yes po. Going next is the Visayas State University. And we have po our third presenter. We have Eastern Visayas State University. I hope po our presenters are already ready. And going next is yes po, we have Palompon Institute of Technology. Ayan, who would be the lucky next presenter after PIT? Ayan po, we have po ESU or Eastern Summer State University. Coming next is yes po, our presenter for the Southern Leyte State University. And seventh presenter, we will have, parang iniiwasan yung bips so ano. But yes po, we have UEP. Sino kaya ang third to the last presenter natin? Ayan. We have NWSSU. And we're down to our last two presenters. Ayan, parang nahuli po ang bips. Ayan po, thank you so much. We have LNU and then BIPSU. Again, I'll have to restate again the order of the presentation, and I hope our presenters are already ready. We have first SSU, then followed by VSU, Eastern Visayas State University, Palompon Institute of Technology, ESU. We then will be followed by SLSU, UEP, NWSSU, followed by Leyte Normal University, and of course, Biliran Province State University. Ayan, so I hope we are all ready po. And okay, do you now see my screen po? I changed a slide.
Hindi pa po, ma'am. Stop
okay.
screen po.
Okay po. How about now, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you so much po for waiting. Good afternoon, Eastern Visayas. We are now in our 8th webinar for the Content Development Series. And of course, we are down to our 5th resource speaker. Moderating this session, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, Hannah Bartolome po from the School of Arts and Sciences of Biliran Province State University. It is indeed a privilege to welcome all our participants to the training workshop on course module production for flexible learning in higher education institutions as part of our efforts to ensure efficient delivery of quality education during emergencies, and isa na po dito is the pandemic we are experiencing. Of course, this is spearheaded by the Eastern Visayas Higher Education Institution Flexible Learning Management System Consortium and initiated by our Commissioner in Higher Education, Dr. Alvin Darilag, and of course supported by our Director for CHED Regional Office 8, Director George M. Colorado. And yes po, this is also through the efforts of the different universities in Eastern Visayas. So ladies and gentlemen, I hope po that we are well this hour. And of course, we would like to say hello and welcome to our viewers and of course, our audience in the YouTube and Facebook Live. Ayan po, and I hope po we had a full meal dahil I think this is a very exciting session that we have this afternoon because we are going to have the practical exercises that we learned from the earlier discussion. And of course, we have to start our webinar as an interaction. So ladies and gentlemen, dun po sa mga in our YouTube Live and Facebook Live, could you please comment po from which institution are you from? And of course po, your name. Ayan, keep it coming po. We are receiving and starting to have the comments already. And while doing so po, please keep the comments coming. And let us first po, or let me share our netiquettes. And before that, yes, I have to share with you the program flow of this afternoon session. So this afternoon, we have a recap, then the workshop, followed by the forum wherein 3 platforms will be allowed to give their comments or their questions so that our resource speaker could answer it. And of course, the awarding of certificate and yes, our reminders. So let's go now to the video conferencing etiquettes. Yes po, please check your device compatibility kasi there are instances po where there is an error. So probably po your device is not compatible with Zoom. So you can still join us using YouTube and Facebook Live. And of course, please po do not navigate on the screen share features because we might interrupt our speaker. And yes, please po be on time because we will not accept any more coming in when we start already the session. So, but yet you can go to YouTube and Facebook Live. And yes, let's not forget to mute our audio and video if you're not yet recognized to speak. And if our videos are active, we please practice decency. And yes po, to be acknowledged, can we po rename our profile? You can check that po out in the participants icon on your gadgets. I-click nyo lang yan po. And then when you are in the participants pane, please po click yung rename. And then you can type in your institution, followed by your college, and then your name po. Ayan, so that we could properly recognize you for later. And if you are on Zoom, please do wear proper attire. And avoid distraction po so that we get everything, all the insights that our resource speakers are going to share. And of course, we get the critics from the presentation later. And yes po, we will recognize you po once you speak. You can just share your questions on the comment boxes of YouTube and Facebook Live. And of course, we will keep on watching you over the chat room in Zoom. And yes po, please log out at the end of the session kasi minsan po kailangan talaga natin ng closure. So dapat po nating huwag kalimutang mag-log out. Ayan, thank you so much. And for our Facebook and YouTube netiquette, let's be reminded po to be kind and polite when we are asking questions and giving out our comments or suggestions and of course feedbacks to the comment threads kasi po nababasa na lahat yan. And yes, avoid trolling po. It's highly discouraged and I know everyone practices that, I hope. And yes, let's avoid capitalizing the letters in our comments because we might seem shouting. And please do have your double check your questions, comments, and suggestions or feedback so that we have a concise statement before we read it. And yes po, if the connection of the live coverage is unstable or hindi po compatible yung device ninyo, you could watch us or have us in the YouTube or Facebook Live. And yan po, thank you so much. So for those reminders lang po pala for those who have blurry presentations kasi we have seen that in the prior sessions. Kung medyo blurry po ang inyong presentations on the YouTube and Facebook Live, kindly click po the quality of the video. So minsan po, usually it's 3 dots. And then click nyo lang yan po. Usually it's in auto. So you can change that to 360p or lower para po medyo clear ang ating presentation. Ayan, and to kickstart po this afternoon, let's check first what we had accomplished this morning. And let me call in po the Director for Curriculum Instruction and Faculty Development of the Biliran Province State University, Dr. Jason Ang. Sir, good afternoon.
All right. Good afternoon, Hannah. Eastern Visayas, good afternoon. So this morning's session Sir. All right. To recap what has transpired during the June 16 session, in the morning, this was facilitated by Southern Leyte State University with Dr. Juan Robertino Macalde of Simeo Enotech, tackling on flexible learning for the new normal development of self-instructional materials and learning chunks, with the official schedule from 9 o'clock to 12:30 p.m., followed by the afternoon session to be facilitated by Biliran Province State University. The task is on presentation of learning chunks from 1:30 to 4:30 p.m. The session started this morning with setting of rules by Dr. Lodito Ramirez, the Graduate School Director of SLSU. Next in line was the prayer delivered by the Instruction Director of SLSU. Still, we have Dr. Frederick Aniga, followed by the opening remarks delivered by the University President, Dr. Pros Ivy Yepes. The introduction of speaker was done by the Vice President for Academics, Research, and Innovation of SLSU. We have Dr. Francis Ann C. Immediately thereafter, session proper followed with Dr. Robbie Macalde, our resource speaker. He then aptly discussed and discloses about flexible learning for the new normal. Here, he discussed about tailor fitting our way of teaching to present-day learners challenged by the COVID-19 pandemic and of whatever forthcoming catastrophes. Also included in the discussion of Sir Robbie on flexible learning approaches, processes, and platforms becoming our new normal, as well as the copyright fundamentals while keeping aware of the flamers, the trolls, and the lurkers. We enjoyed these insights and the technology tools. A brief forum rather commenced with Dr. Ludito V. Ramirez being the moderator and facilitator around 10:30 a.m. Then session resumed with still Sir Robbie Macalde on the development of self-instructional materials involving instructional designs, ready references of activities, and writing tips. Followed by the development of learning chunks, wherein we understand that chunking refers to the strategy of breaking down information into bite-sized pieces so the brain can more easily digest new information. The reason the brain needs this assistance is because working memory, which is where we manipulate information, holds a limited amount of information at one time. This is being followed by the SUK's representative assignment to present learning chunks after the workshop. Shortly thereafter, lunch break follows. Again, from Biliran Province State University, we would like to say thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much po, Dr. Ang. And of course po, I bet everyone is now set for a more practical second session. Are we ready na po kaya? Ayan po, to share his inputs on our presentations this afternoon, and of course our resource speaker, the senior specialist from the Flexible Learning Solutions Unit of the Learning Management Office of Samio Inotech, Dr. Juan Robertino Macalde. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you have a sumptuous lunch. So to begin with, before we officially commence with the presentation from each of the universities or members of the consortium, let me provide you with a short review of the requirements for this session. Again, we're expecting a learning chunk. So let me share my screen, sorry. So these are the learning chunks. Again, we're expecting you provide us with the title of your topic. A topic is supposedly a lesson within a module or a subject within your respective courses. Provide us with the learning outcome and then the specific topic under that, and then the 4 A's. Again, activity, analysis, abstraction, and application. To guide you further for your respective presentations, let me provide you with some insights on regards feedbacking. After each presentation, we're expecting each one to provide a feedback, possibly around, if time will not limit us that much, around 5 minutes for each presenters. After around 10 minutes, the members of the team who are participating in this workshop presentation are requested to provide us with a feedback on the presentation. As a feedback, let us quote on the ladder of feedback from Philip Cummings in his activity. So first, the first step, so again, it's a ladder. You clarify, so that means you ask clarifying questions to be sure that you understand the idea or matter on the table. Avoid clarifying questions that are thinly disguised as a criticism. The next step in the ladder is value. Express what you like about the idea or matter at hand in specific terms. Do not offer hasty good, but and hurry on to the negatives. Step 3, state concerns. state your puzzles and concerns. Avoid absolutes like what's wrong is. Use qualified terms like I wonder if, it seems to me. Avoid criticizing character or ability. Focus on ideas, products, or specific parts. And the last step, or step number 4, is to suggest. Make suggestions for improvement. These steps can be blended with step number 3, which is state concerns. People state concerns and then offer suggestions to address them. Again, as far as this session is concerned, immediately after each presentation, we're requesting you to please provide the feedback to the presenters. State it first with a clarification, a value proposition, state your concern, and then provide us with your suggestions. Thank you. So now, can we now listen to the first presenter?
Okay, sir. Earlier we picked po the order. We have the first presenter from SSU, Samar State University. And we have po Dr. Laura Bollier from SSU. Dr. Bollier, are you around po?
There's a request from SSU. They're requesting for a few minutes.
Yes
Okay.
po.
For the meantime, while waiting for the presenters, may I know if there are questions or burning questions that we need to be answered right now? Either it was based on the discussions earlier today, early this morning, or late this morning on the second session.
Okay, so po, for those in YouTube Live and Facebook Live, you can just drop in the comment boxes for any questions po para we can have it answered by Dr. Macaude. And since SSU is already finalizing the output, we'll have the question and answer for a minute po. So again, Sir Macalde, please allow me to state the order po of the presentations as we wait for the questions. First po, we have SSU, followed by Visayas State University. We have also Eastern Visayas State University. We have Palompon Institute of Technology, and then followed by Eastern Samar State University, then by the Southern Leyte State University, University of Eastern Philippines, the NWSSU, the LNU, and of course, Biliran Province State University.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Again, questions?
Yes, po. Please drop in your questions. So any po volunteers, we can have, sir, the volunteers if there are already institutions that are ready to present. Okay po, here's a request po from Sir Ryan Wenceslao, sir. He is requesting po to rediscuss the 4 A's since some of them were not able to listen due to intermittent connection.
Okay, let me share my screen again.
Thank you, sir.
The 4 A's of learning, or we call them the 4 stages of experiential learning process, consisted of the following: an activity, analysis of that activity, an abstraction or a short lecture on the session, on the topic based on your activity and your application. To be more specific, which would lead to a new experience or experiential learning. To be more specific, activity provides you with it helps introduce the topic. This activity may be a reflection, an assessment, or others. I think I've given some examples earlier today about active learning principles. Your analysis, on the other hand, talks about providing feedback and a brief discussion of your activity. So it means after the activity, you should have some sort of a process question which lead to the analysis of your activity. Immediately after this, there should be a link, so to speak, to provide you with an abstraction or a mini lecturette on the topic. Example, your topic is on biology, so focus more on one of the lessons under biology. So that means first you need to have an activity that introduces the topic. And then you need to analyze the activity. Analysis can also come in the form of a question and answer or a simple explanation of what happened. And then after the lecture, you're expected to provide an application activity as well, either in a form of an assignment or in a form of another activity that produces some sort of a situation where you're saying that after learning from this is what happens now. So that's the application. Again, for purposes of this presentation, we're expecting you to provide your learning chunk, your topic. First, provide us with the topic. What's the main topic? And then your learning outcome statement. And then provide us with the specific topic under which you're talking, which is covered under your learning outcome. And then start with an activity followed by a linking statement that would lead to your analysis of your activity, and then another linking statement of your before proceeding to the abstraction or your lecture, and then another linking statement that would lead to your application. Okay, again, if there are questions, please do not hesitate to ask now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And sir, we have volunteers already po. I think NWSSU and BIPSU volunteers po already. So can we have can we please po unmute Ma'am Christy of NWSSU?
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. Okay. Let me show you my output. Okay. Share. Okay. So good afternoon. I'm Christy Carpon from NWSSU. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Yes, ma'am. Loud and clear.
Yes,
Okay. So the output that I'm going to present is on the subject data structure and algorithms. So specifically, the topic is on linked list. Okay, so here is my learning outcome or objective. So at the end of the chapter, you are expected to first explain the concept of linked list data structure. Second, design and simulate algorithms that operate on linked list, specifically single linked list. So a specific topic for this chapter is about single linked list. So for the overview, so I have here, so parang a part of introduction about the topic. So there is a previous discussion about the previous chapter, then going to the next chapter. Then let's read this is the lesson proper. So I'm going to introduce about linked list. So here are some of the lessons. Then after that, I have here an activity. So a simple true or false question. So 1 to 5. which is in relation to the to the topic discussed about introduction and linked list. Then I have also here some answer for the uh, activity. Then let's dig deeper. This is more on the specific topic, which is single linked list. So it will, this is the discussion about the different operations and how we are going to go with single linked list. So some of the discussions with figures and explanations. Then we have here the algorithm, same as true with the simulation of the algorithm. So a step-by-step simulation of each algorithm. So we have the first thing searching, then we have insertion. At the end of the lesson, I have here an application. So that's on your own. So I have here two parts. First part is they are going to simulate given the algorithm discussed earlier. Then the second is they are going to translate the algorithm into a Java program because this is more on programming. So that's all. And I'm confused about the analysis part. Hindi ko alam kung saan ko i-insert yung analysis. That's all, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you po. And we have 10 minutes feedback, sir, from our audiences. As agreed earlier. So could anyone share their comments? And of course, following Philip Cummings, clarify, value, idea, and state concerns and suggestions po. Do we have volunteers po?
I-stop share ko na, ma'am.
Sige po. Wait na lang muna, ma'am.
Wait
So
lang.
that also
Iba na
Sir
lang
can
po.
Sir Macalde can also comment on it. Okay. There is already a comment, sir, by from SU by Ma'am Debbie Joyce Veloso. Ma'am Debbie, could we hear you po? From can you unmute po your mic po, Ma'am Debbie? Okay. Ma'am Debbie is saying, sir, that it would be better if we follow the format given by Sir A of the 4 A's so that it will be fully understood. So anyone po who would like to share their feedback po on our first presenter? Ayan, parang kinakabahan pa, sir, ang ating mga audiences to give po their feedback. So could we have your comments po on the
Okay.
first presenter?
Thank you for the presentation. Actually,
Yes,
it's quite interesting. Given the very limited time, you're able to produce something like this. Starting with clarification, perhaps from my side, I need to be familiar. To whom would this subject area or topic would be given to? Or what I'm saying is, who would be your audience? Are we referring to fourth year, third year, college students or graduate students?
First year students here,
What
college.
specific, before talking about linked list, what are the other, is there a prior topic related to linked list? That's a second question. And then looking at the format, yeah, I believe so. For better understanding, perhaps it will be better to just mention, instead of using the example given earlier, tell us that you're actually referring to this as an activity, and then you're referring to the next step as your analysis, and then an abstraction, and then later on your application. For purposes of branding, perhaps you can name it later. You can name it differently. You don't need to call it as an activity. You don't need to call it as an analysis. You can name it, for branding purposes, you can call it as a different name, a different terminology. So can you kindly also inform us as well? Is this a topic under, is it on the first, sorry, is it a first grading or something? Is this for the first grading, second grading? Is it before the preliminary exams? Is this part of the midterm exam or something? Please provide us in certain aspects before you develop your module. There must be some sort of what we call as prerequisites. We need to find out, if I were to take this subject, this course, what would be the prerequisites? What are the expectations? So if I'm a first year student, what are the expected? As far as flexible learning is concerned, we need to find out first what do you already know at this point, so that we'll be able to find out how to approach you. I did mention earlier as well that part of your development of your materials is to make sure that you know your audience. So that would come later. So in the sense that you'll be able to develop some of the activities that would be appropriate for your chosen topic. So first, can you please tell us, is this first year, what part of the grading period is this for? What are the expected prerequisites before this student or students be able to get this or something?
So this topic is on IT students, specifically first year students, ITCS or IS. Then there is a prior topic before this. First part is introduction and data structure. Second part is on the arrays. The third part is on the linked list. So before they're going to have the linked list part, they should know about the introduction and data structure, the different types of data structure, then arrays, so that they can compare about array and linked list, which is better one to use.
Okay.
Yan po.
Thank you. Is it possible to get the other, can you run down the lower part after overview? Okay, let's read. You mentioned earlier that you're having difficulties as regards analysis.
Kung saan ko siya
Yes.
ilalagay kasi more on programming.
Pwede natin ibaba ng konti yung, let's go back to the upper part. Okay. Perhaps the overview per se is not part of the 4As. So it's an introduction to what you're supposed to be doing. So let's read is your activity. And then my sense is that you can relate linked list with an actual situation. Perhaps like say, look at the example given below. How does linked list use? How did you able to use linked list in this activity or something? Parang ganun yung nakikita kong magiging possible na approach dito. And then you tell them, okay, given all of these things, tell us why is it important to have a single linked list? How important is this in programming or something? Parang you're slowly looking at the next topic, which is next activity, which is your abstraction. Parang ini-introduce mo na yung abstraction. So after let's read, what you can do is provide some sort of an explanation. Okay, so this is what happened. Bakit ganon? Bakit ganyan yung nangyari? So that's the time that's already your analysis part. You can also do it by way of an activity as well. Given all of these things, what happens now? So then magkakaroon ka na ng linking statement na papasok ka ngayon dun sa iyong lecture on single linked list. Ang suggestion ko dito sa mga parang diagram, medyo, yan. Kung printed version ito, okay siya. Pero kung online version, purely online, kasi you have two options. You can have a printed version or a purely online version of all of your things, your module. So probably mas okay kung medyo konting kulay, konting explanation, mas malaki ng konti. Yung thinking na pwedeng yung when you look at PowerPoints, merong lumalaki, merong lumiliit, mga ganun. May konting animation. If the thinking is to place this entirely in its entirety as a diagram within an online document. But in its printed version, better to, okay din to, but better to have a more thorough explanation like what does it mean by head node? Parang meron kang mga parang arrows telling about head node, this one, and the others as well. Okay? So can we go down dun po sa ating abstraction? Sige po. Okay. Actually, parang may naulit po ng konti.
Kasi po, this part here, say for example, this overview and let's read is parang an introduction about linked list.
Yes, okay.
So this activity is pertaining to
The examples, yes.
opo, yung presentation nung sa discussion ko. Then yung sa let's dig deeper, parang yun yung pinaka-abstraction. Opo.
Okay. Actually, pwede na rin itong yung iba lang siguro kaya medyo nagkalituhan kasi tinawag siyang activity sa taas. Pero that could form part of your analysis eh. That one, yung nakalagay na nakatitle na activity. May konting explanation lang. Like this one. Kasi remember, we mentioned earlier, iwas tayo sa multiple choice. Kasi ang tendency pag nasa online, magkopyahan, magbulungan, lalo na perfect example ko magkatabi yung dalawang learner sa isang computer station or somewhere. So yun ang iniiwasan natin. So if ever, okay lang na, anyway, pwede naman sabihin non-graded ito, but you need to provide explanations. Bakit yes yung sagot? Bakit no yung sagot? Why is it yes? Why is it no? Yung statement sa baba. Why is it false? Why is it true? Parang may explanation ka based on this, based on something, sino yung expert na nagsabi, bakit false yan, bakit true yan, what does it mean? Yung ganong mga explanation. And then, mag-zero in ka, dapat meron tayong tinatawag na linking statement for your abstraction. Yes. And then, okay na po yung abstraction. May konting description lang po dapat yan. Parang what I'm saying is, let's always assume na yung learner natin wala pa siyang information about this. Wala siyang prior knowledge. Let's always assume wala siyang prior knowledge.
Okay po.
But better if you know already the learner, pero at this point, if you really have no time to understand kung sino yung learner mo, better to assume na wala siyang prior knowledge and then let's just take it somewhere else thereafter.
This is introduced in the second semester, so parang
no na prior knowledge is the first.
Apo.
Ang isa pang suggestion, you can have a mag-pre-test ka muna just to find out familiar na ba talaga ito sa algorithms dito sa ating sinasabing LinkedIn. Just to make sure na talagang learner-centered siya. Na alam mo yung na you're taking care of his or her bago ka pumasok dito sa topic.
On the first part po nung first chapter, meron po nung algorithm.
Yes.
Apo.
Okay, and then you're on your own. Traverse the following list. And then again, okay to, if ang intention ay magkaroon ng sagot dun sa baba, provide them with an example of a reason for that correct or incorrect assumptions. Okay, so thank you. Ganun po talaga pag umpisa, medyo maraming nasasabi.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for coming up with this very informative information, given the limited time.
Yes, sir. Sir, actually, sa activity po sa unahan, yung sa true or false, I am planning po sana nga, instead of true or false, I am going to have parang compare and contrast about arrays at saka linked list. Para mayroong contrasting sa previous knowledge.
Yes po yan. That's correct. Maganda rin po yan. At least na re-reinforce yung information.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sayang, hindi tayo face-to-face na magpapalakpakan ka namin.
Thank you so much po, ma'am. And of course, balik na po tayo sa dati nating order po. On the presentation, kasi ready na po ang ating representative po coming from Samar State University. And if I'm not mistaken po, we have Dr. Laura Bollier. Ma'am. Paki-unmute na lang po, ma'am, yung microphone po ninyo. Thank you.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, all the way from Samar State University, from Catbalogan. Good afternoon to our previous resource speaker, Dr. Juan Robertino Macaldi. Good afternoon, sir. And of course, to the university presidents of the different state universities and colleges here in Eastern Visayas. This is Dr. Laura B. Bollier, the program chair from the College of Education, Samar State University. May I have the honor to present to you the output that we had in a short time this morning. This is a collaborative effort of the faculty from the College of Education. Good afternoon to all. May I present to you the chunk, the learning chunk for the subject on the child and adolescent learners. This is particularly on section 3 or part 3 of the topic on the development of the learners at various stages. Specifically, our topic for this particular chunk or a part of a whole module is on prenatal development. Good afternoon again to all. So here are our learning outcomes. At the end of this module, the student or you, since we will be talking to our learners for this module are the education students, particularly the first year education students. This is part of the Prof Ed 1 or Professional Education 1. First, of course, our first objective is explain the prenatal development and its stages, and that is under knowledge. The second is create a 3-minute TED Talk about the most common hazards to prenatal development. And the third learning outcome is appreciate the gift of life manifested in an anti-abortion stand. So here, following the stages of experiential learning, here is for our activity. We have the first activity, read the following article. Yeah, the students are requested to read an article and, of course, using the guide questions. What are these for under activity? These activities are to provide the learners that will introduce the topic. Here are the guide questions. What was your reaction after reading the article? And then the article are presented on the slide. Do you agree that a developing baby in the womb is just a blob of tissue or a uterine content? Of course, presenting to you are the slides on that. And next is on analysis, which is the second stage for experiential learning. Analysis gives feedback or brief discussion of the activity. So we have selected this activity on analysis. Based on your reading and analysis, do you believe that which is developing in the womb of a mother can be termed as a human being already? Does it affect your stand on abortion? And that the student particularly first-year student from the College of Education should justify their answer. And next, the third stage for the experiential learning is the abstraction. And these serve as the mini lecture for the particular topic on the prenatal period. And that here, okay, so we have the slide. We have germinal period, embryonic period, and we have fetal period, continuation, and of course, after the mini lecturate, we're going to have the last stage of the experiential learning, and that is on the application. The application activity provides the student an information to apply what they have learned from the mini lecture. So we have here, this is actually a product of a collaborative effort of the faculty from our college. One, find and download a research study related to the various development that occurs during prenatal period. Take note of the influences that had affected the baby during development, and such influences that had affected the baby may in a negative or a positive. Next activity under application. You have been selected to be the speaker in a family day celebration, and that you are going to create a 3-minute TED Talk about the most common hazards to prenatal development. And that, please refer to the rubric at the end of the section for the evaluation of your activity. And another activity for application. Pretend that you are a 4-month baby in the womb of your mother who is considering abortion. You write a letter to your mother convincing her that you are a human being developing contrary to what she and other pre-abortionists are thinking. Describe to her the development that has already taken place in 4 months. Reflect on what you have learned on the prenatal development you have learned from this lesson. Finally, thank you. It is our honor to present our humble results of our activity this morning. Okay, just this morning that we had lesson to our lecture on Learning Management Office from CMEO Enotic, Dr. Juan Robertino Macalde. Good afternoon, sir, and good afternoon to the viewers of this consortium. Thank you, and all the way from Samar State University, this is Dr. Boulier. Thank you, and good afternoon again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bollier. That was again from Samar State University. And yes, po, this really shows that we are linking together all the webinars that we had in the previous days as well. So,
yes, all the way from Samar.
Yes, thank you so much, ma'am, for being participative. And of course, we will be waiting for the feedback po for your presentation. Can we have from our in the Zoom platform po? Okay, I think Dr. Macalde, we will be having your inputs and comments because I think everyone is still having a hard time because they will be going next in the presentation.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Macalde.
Thank you po. Thank you very much po, Dr. Boulier. Thank you for the presentation again. very commendable given the tight time that you were given earlier today. So request po namin uli yung pwede po bang ma-request uli ma-share sa screen yung ating PowerPoint?
Okay, I will be requesting
Sige
our
po. Thank you.
fellow member of the faculty, a member of the faculty from the college, to help me share the slides.
Good po sa medyo mas okay.
Ito po.
Okay. Thank you po. So again, if I'm not mistaken, nasabi niyo na po no, kung sino yung ating audience for this.
Opo. Yeah,
So, and
they
then
are the first
explain.
year
thank you po.
students from the College of Education po.
Okay. Yung pong isa sa mga object learning outcomes is create a 3-minute TED Talk. So are we saying na kukuha po sila ng TED Talk or sila mismo ang gagawa ng parang TED Talk about the most common
Considering
hazards?
that our students have the access to the internet, they are going to create. Sila po ang gagawa ng TED Talk.
Okay, talagang TED Talk na on their own, gagayahin nila si TED Talks and everything. Okay. Siguro po as far as I'm concerned, parang ano lang po siguro parang dagdagan lang ito na TED Talk like something
At
para
TED
just to
Talk
make sure
like.
na we're not ang immediate reaction ko po kasi is magda-download ba ako ng TED Talk o gagawa ako ng TED Talk similar to what's
Okay,
there.
copy po. Noted po. Thank you
You
po.
might want to
TED
call it
Talk.
differently as well para for branding purposes, wag niyo siyang tawagin TED Talk. Sabihin yung school niyo po, SSU Talks, parang gano'n siguro. For branding, para mas maano po
Okay.
sa lahat. But you're doing it
Okay po.
differently.
Opo, copy po.
Okay, so thank you po dun sa ano.
Thank you po.
Can we go to the next screen po? Next slide. Okay. Yung video po manggagaling sa isang YouTube.
Opo.
So again, ang concern po dito, we need to make sure po na yung YouTube video ay accessible kasi may mga institutions po na bawal ang connection sa YouTube. Isang option po siguro is i-download na siya na maaga pero just to make sure na sasabihin na galing ito sa YouTube, something. Parang ganun po.
Okay,
And then,
copy po.
meron po tayong question. Can we go to the next po?
Guide questions po.
Apa. Okay. What are your reaction after reading the article? Okay. Parang nawala po ng konti yung linking doon sa YouTube. Siguro po, okay po ito, yung this guide questions for the reading the article. Siguro may link po tayo doon sa YouTube. Ano yung mga parang guide questions like, ano ba yung sinasabi nila doon sa YouTube? How relevant is that to this article on life before birth, something. Not unless magkaiba pa, sorry, hindi natin po nabuksan yung YouTube. Baka naman they're actually talking about this sa YouTube. Pero yun po, parang meron tayong questions like, how relevant is the YouTube information? How is it related to this information na binibigay po dito on life before birth?
Okay,
And
so you mean
then
po we're going to
parang
you mean po we're going to add
linking po.
another guide question po that would link the activity from the YouTube to this
Yes,
present activity.
correct po.
Copy po.
Yes po. This is a blob or tissue. Okay, thank you po. Next slide po. Okay lang po. Next po.
Ito po sa
Okay.
analysis.
Based on do you believe? Okay. So dito po, medyo kailangan ng konting linking. Like, bakit po tayo pumasok agad sa abortion? Parang ganun po. Kasi we're talking about life. So parang may konting issue on abortion. Parang meron something like a linking statement. How is this? Parang pwede po siguro like in the Philippines. Yeah, parang ganun. In the Philippines, it's illegal to ganun abortion. The church also ganon. Certain forbids abortion because you're killing something. Saka po tayo papasok doon sa
Sa actual na ito na question po.
question na po. How does this affect your stand on abortion? Not unless yun pong naunang information ay nagdi-discuss about abortion. But ang nabasa ko po, parang more on the life siya po. Then linking. Okay po, at least pumasok yung parang values. Pumapasok po. May issue kayo on values
Values
dito.
integration.
Nag-integrate kayo ng values. Ayun, ito po yung isa sa mga questions kanina. How do you
Opo,
integrate
from
values? Ito po.
LMU.
This is one way of introducing values doon po sa loob ng ating mga modules. This one. Medyo linking statement lang po ang ipapasok natin para hindi po masyadong ang initial ko kasi reaction na makita ko parang bakit pumasok yung abortion bigla. Parang naiba yung topic. You're talking of life, then all of a sudden abortion. Medyo na yung link, yun po ang important din sa modules natin parati. Meron tayong tinatawag na linking. Para hindi po naliligaw yung linking statement po or something, a linking activity. Para hindi naliligaw yung, kasi parang nagkikwento rin po tayo dito, kaya lang in a more concise manner. Parang iniisip natin agad na parang this is tied up automatically with lifelong learning. Parang pag alis ko dito sa session ko, dapat alam ko na gagawin ko. Kahit wala na to.
Okay, so there should be a linking statements before this actual question. Sige po,
Yes po.
happy po. Thank you po.
Sige po, can we go to the next po? Abstraction.
Ito na
Okay
po
po yan.
yung discussion.
Again, may linking po. Given all of these things, we are now ready. Pwede po ganyan. You are now ready to determine
Okay. Yes po.
what is it.
We are
Yes.
telling a story.
Opo. Yes po.
Yeah.
You're now ready. This is how babies are made. Ganyan. This is how they, Yan po. Okay po tong abstraction dito. Okay po siya.
Okay.
And then next po tayo. Okay po yan.
Sa ano na po?
Problem po. Okay
Sa
siya.
application na po.
Maganda po kasi medyo concise. Straight to the point. If you also want to, pwede po kayo parang for further reading, pwede nyo pong pasukan dun sa dulo. For further reading or for further information, please refer to, pwede pong magbigay kayo ng link. Parang what you're saying is binibigyan mo ng summarized version ito para hindi ka na magbasa, ito na. Ito na yung pinag-uusapan natin. Pero kung hindi mo pa masyadong maintindihan, ito yan. Go to this link. Either in a YouTube or something.
Activity.
For further,
For further activity.
Apo.
Okay.
Ang
Ito po
assumption po dito sa application, input po. May input po kayo na nanggaling sa abstraction. So ang assumption po, if you're looking at a research related to the values development, take note of it. Pwede po. Yeah, medyo ano po. Yeah, at least link po siya.
Link po din.
Yes po.
It's because on
Yes po.
prenatal period. Opo. At saka, we also would like to inculcate into our college students the values on research. Kasi we have
correct.
also the access of the internet. But not all naman po.
Pwede nyo pong ako ang instant na nakita kong parang nawawala. Parang linking information. Bakit kailangan ako mag-research? Parang gano'n. Why do I need to understand this further? Parang ganun po. Siguro some sort of a statement before the actual application. It is important to value life. Because of this, you need to make sure that there are enough safeguards to value life. Parang given all of these things, please go to ganon and search for various studies that talks about the things that happens to the babies during the their development stage. Parang ganun.
Okay.
So pwede nyo pong pasukan yan ng ang mga mothers hindi dapat nagsisigarilyo. Yan, dapat lumabas yan sa kanilang mga study. Parang meron po kayong mga pinapasok agad na. Ang suggestion ko po, kung ito yung application nyo, pwede nyo po siyang idagdag doon sa inyong learning outcomes as part of ano. Kasi usually po ang application naka-tie up sa learning outcomes. Pwede nyo pong idagdag as one of the information. Like, pwede nyo pong inculcate the value of research, appreciate life, parang naman po yung pasok doon sa part of your learning outcomes.
Sa learning outcomes namin, sir, that's the last
Apa.
learning outcome.
Pwede niyo
That
po
is,
siyang ipasok doon
appreciating the
na
value of life.
because of that, ito yung ating application, sorry. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so again, congratulations po.
Thank you also, sir, for
Very
sharing your
worth the wait.
expertise.
Worth the wait
Ah,
pa.
Maraming salamat po. Good
Thank you.
afternoon po. Good afternoon to the different presidents and to the CHED regional director, and of course to the host school for this consortium for this day 4. Good afternoon also, and thank you for listening to our presentation.
Thank you so much po, Dr. Bollier. And of course, we have our comment already, which came from the YouTube Live. They have the same comment actually with Dr. Macalde on the presentation. It actually, let me quote them, excellent Dr. Bollier of SSU. The abstraction part could be linked to the YouTube videos on the prenatal development, which was also the comment of Dr. Macalde. And of course, that was given by Ma'am Christina Estolano from our YouTube Live. And thank you po. And of course, reminding po everyone that you could still share and comment the feedbacks of the presentations po doon sa dalawang platforms. Aside from Zoom po, you can also comment sa YouTube and Facebook Live. And of course, we will try to accommodate all the feedback. So, to accommodate po everyone, we still have about 7 presentations. We would like to request po our presenters to take about 5 to 8 minutes po for their presentations. And we have a total of 15 minutes po, including the corrections and the inputs of Dr. Macalde. So I think our presenter coming from Visayas State University is ready na po.
Yes po.
Thank you po. Let us all welcome Dr. Romero Turing Jr. of Visayas State University.
Hindi po ako doctor.
Si Sir.
Okay.
Sir
Hi.
Romero.
Good afternoon, everyone. Teachers and instructors from Region 8. I'm Romeo from the Department of Liberal Arts and Behavioral Sciences of BSU. I also want to thank the previous speaker because she's talking about pregnancy, which is a good link to my topic, which is, I'm gonna share my screen now, which is the sexual self, understanding the self. And I have prepared this in the more in the Word format, but I'm gonna show you my PowerPoint presentation so that para mas malinaw sa lahat. Wait a minute, paano ba? Paano mag-share?
Sir Romeo, naka-share screen ka na po.
Share screen na po to. Okay po. This is my entire screen or just a specific window?
The Word file.
Okay, I'm gonna show this na lang para mas malinaw to. Okay. For our learning chunk, understanding the self. These are the learning outcomes and objectives. At the end of this module, students are expected to 1, locate their erogenous zones and sexually sensitive parts of their body. Number 2, discern their sexuality, both physically and psychologically. Number 3, develop respect to people belonging to different sexual orientations and gender identity and expression. And number 4, understand the responsibilities of an adult through sex education. Dito po yung papasok yung sex, yung contraceptives and all of those methods. And for my suggested activity, I like to integrate the app Snapchat or other similar apps like Face app or those apps with a camera filter feature. So ang ganito mangyayari, students will take a selfie using the gender swap filter or Snapchat. And I have to be strict about this. If they are biologically male, they will use the female gender swap filter. If you are biologically female, they will use the male gender swap feature. This should be clear so that there will be a profound reflection after this activity. And still, since we don't know our audience yet, if asynchronous yung mangyayari, they will submit the photo in the virtual classroom, and they will write the question, if I were a boy or a girl, who would I be? Ganon kapag asynchronous. But if synchronous, then they could share their thoughts while sharing the screen ang nangyari sa picture nila to the class. So mga 2 to 3 minutes siguro a lot for that. And so ganito yung mangyayari sa activity. So may picture na ganito. This is me, and
Sir,
kapag
excuse me po. Sir Romeo, PowerPoint
Yes
po
po.
yung present po ninyo?
PowerPoint po. Hindi po nakita po.
Hindi sir, Word file po yung naka-flash.
Okay, from
Stop
sorry.
po ninyo muna sir yung share screen.
Ito
And
po.
then, yan sir. F5
Okay.
mo lang sir.
Sorry, hindi. Okay, babalik na
Yan
ako.
po.
Ito yung learning objectives. Binabasa ko na kanina. Pero ito yung mangyayari sa activity. Sa gaya ng sinabi ko, gagamit kami ng Snapchat or app. So, ganito yung mangyayari. They will take a selfie of themselves on the opposite sex. So ganito yung mangyayari. And then if it is synchronous, then they will show the picture to the class, and then they will share what they feel about it, or anong nasa isip nila. Or if it's asynchronous, you could write something like this, like how do they imagine themselves in the opposite sex. And therefore, in order for them to write something as substantial, there's a need for some guide questions in the analysis part. So each student must have a conscious reflection on one's sexual self, and one effective tool is to imagine oneself in the opposite sex. So while looking at the gender swaps picture, please, they will answer the following guide questions. So what's the first thing that comes to mind when they first saw their gender swap picture? Actually, I already did this activity before sa face-to-face, and maganda yung resulta, and I think this is also applicable sa online na as the distance learning na paradigm. So in the number 1 question, madalas na mangyayari, sinasabi nila na kamukha daw nilang mama nila, kamukha nilang papa nila, and this is some psychological strains na your concepts of masculinity and femininity is based on your upbringing, on what you see in your family, so on and so forth. And then ganito, what is the most sensitive part of your body? I don't want to sound so sexual about this, but the point here is actually to students to know which parts of the body are sensitive, so that they will know na ganitong parts these are a no-no. So if you will touch these parts, maging sexual harassment na to. So this is the point of asking this number 2 question. It sounds simple, but ganon ang mga sagot na lumalabas. Their concepts of sexual harassment lumalabas in a simple question of number 2 dito sa analysis. Number 3, how would you take care of themselves? Now, remember, this is them thinking in the opposite sex. The students will be saying their biases, their prejudices about the opposite sex. At the same time, because if you look at the psychological theories, anong sasabihin nila sa iba is also a reflection of himself. So ganun na mangyayari sa activity na to. What is an attractive man or woman for you? That's also a question that will answer what kind of gender identity or sexual orientation a student have. And how should you treat a man or a woman? This is the answers that will come here are ano yung mga biases niya sa society regarding gender roles and all these other structures. And if you plan to marry, when and why? Dito yung I think this is the simplest question that I can get data from about sex education or about sexual maturity, or how they plan themselves as sexual beings in the future. Basta ganito yung analysis. Basing from the sample, yung abstraction on the sample given by the research speaker, to my understanding, ganito yung just correct me if I'm wrong, it's actually giving a situation wherein the student is transported into a different situation like this. Suppose you are a woman and you're currently having a date with your boyfriend. Tapos hindi mayaman yung boyfriend mo, and then kakabayad pa niya ng bill. Paano ka mag-offer na hati na lang kayo sa bayaran? then na hindi masasaktan yung lalaki. Ganit, just to my understanding, ganito yung sa obstruction, yung parang thought-provoking na component ng ng learning chunk. And there's another situation here for by obstruction. Let's say my best friend ka na campus heartthrob, tapos isang gabi naglakad kayo, tapos may isang bakla na nagsumisit-sit, kuya 150, tapos ang best friend mo sa sarili niya, sabihin ko, apo ko talaga. Tapos alam mo, during your lecture that's a sexual harassment, how would you enlighten your friend about this? And this is a thought-provoking exercise for the student to think. For application, more or less it's the same from obstruction, but as I understand it, it's more of how you apply it in real life situations like this. If Ben Tulfo said something like this, what's your reaction to this statement? Or number two, you saw a Facebook post of your close friend saying that he is gay, he came out from the closet. How will you respond? Mag-aha reaction ka ba? Mag-like? Bakit? Or number three, when you're jogging, you saw two lesbian kissing in the park. Both of them look at you. What will you do? Titingin ka ba sa ibang direction? Or mag-smile ka lang? Or you just close your eyes and just ignore? And then let them explain it. And number four, siga ka na policeman tapos nakaanak ka na bakla. Paano ka mag-deal with it? Or number five, you're an educator, you want to uphold this dignified figure. However, you cannot fight the feeling inside of you that you get attracted to one particular student. Anong gagawin mo bilang guro na may naramdaman ka sa isang estudyante? The answers are not provided here, but this is actually only devices to make students think about their sexuality and whatever is going on in this mind. I think as long as they learn the art of self-discernment about their sexuality, I think this will be good already, at least for me, and that will be the end. Thank you. Tapos na po.
Thank you po, Sir Romeo. And we accept po your feedbacks po on the YouTube Live and of course Facebook Live. While waiting po, could we hear comment from Dr. Roby if it's okay po?
Yes, for purposes of medyo maliit na po yung time natin, almost 3 o'clock, more than 3 o'clock na siya. So pabilisan ko na lang po. Congratulations, number one, very timely yung iyong topic. Yung face changing, interesting din kasi tama-tama kasi ito yung mga napapagtripan, so to speak. Pardon me for the term. Ito yung gusto-gusto ng mga younger generation ngayon eh. Yung mga kung ano apps and everything. Maganda yung pagkaka-align ng face changing as an activity kasi tama-tama. Ito yung sinasabi nating you really know your audience at this point. Alam mo yung kung sino sila and then what they admire. Ito yung sinasabi natin, unang pasok pa lang kuha mo na yung attention nila. Ang major comments ko siguro at this point is dun sa application. Yung mga topics, sorry, not the application, yung abstraction. Yung mga pinag-uusapan sa abstraction can actually be part of the activity. Ang assumption kasi natin parati when you talk about abstraction is that's your lecture. That's the meat of your concern. So kung ito yung pinag-uusapan natin, gender awareness, so dapat gender awareness ang pinag-uusapan dun sa topic. Ang maganda lang at this point na nakita ko dun sa inyo, very timely, very youthful yung topic mo. Very youthful din yung approach mo. It proves na kilala mo yung audience mo. You know your audience. Ang suggestion ko sa, again, abstraction, better na i-discuss yung actual na information na kailangan ibigay sa kanila para mag-fit in yung application. Ang isa pang suggestion sa application, better na mapag-usapan na gumawa ka ng parang mga suggested responses as far as these are concerned. Yung mga responses in such a way na walang tinatawag na gender bias. Ano ba yung ibig sabihin? So like this one, you while jogging you saw two lesbians kissing. So siguro parang, oh, so what's the big deal? Parang ganon. It's not a big deal given the the current situation. You see this everywhere. Parang ganon siguro. Parang, so this is not a big deal. So don't get a big fuss out of this. Parang ganon yung hindi man siya mapasok doon sa loob ng iyong module, pwedeng ilagay siya sa bandang dulo as part of your suggested or responses to the questions. Okay, so yan lang po muna. For purposes of time, taking note of the time, the situation, so doon na po tayo sa susunod na presenter. Thank you.
Thank you po.
Congratulations.
Thank you po. And
Thank you po.
Dr. Macalde, could we request po, since we have shortened time already, can we request po if we have all the presentation po muna and then we will have the comments afterwards? Thank
Okay,
you po.
that would be okay. That would be
Thank you
better.
po.
Thank you.
And next po on our list is the Eastern Visayas State University po. Then will be followed by Palompon Institute of Technology. 2% po for EBSU. We have Dr. Jeffrey Okay. Sir, good afternoon. You could unmute na po your microphone, Sir Jeffrey. Sir Jeffrey, we couldn't unmute you po from the Zoom. You can unmute na po from your room po. Ayan, sir.
There you go.
Thank you po.
Is that okay now, facilitator?
Yes, sir. If you could only have a shared screen.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
Wait po ha, dahil hindi po ko tech savvy. Paano mag-share ng screen? Wait.
Sir, dyan sa... Sige.
Sa middle po ng iyong pane po, mayroong share screen na naka-green.
Okay,
You can click on that po.
Okay, sure. I got it.
Okay.
Wait, sorry. Okay, that's it. Are we good to go? Hello?
Sir Jeff,
Yes.
may nag-flash ka na po ng presentation?
Yes.
PDF po ba?
Yes, PDF siya.
Sir, stop share po muna. Then, balik ka doon sa share screen. Piliin mo lang yung PDF na i-present mo.
Okay, sure.
Yes, sir.
Sorry.
Okay lang, sir. You could open po muna, sir, yung PDF file niyo before you
Okay.
share screen po.
Yeah, it's open now.
Okay, sir. Then you click the share screen button.
Na naghangin.
Ayan po.
That's
We
fine
can
now.
see it po. Yes, sir. We can see it.
Okay, thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone, especially to my boss in San Visayas State University who volunteered for me. I chose the topic identifying gaps in research. This is one of the subjects that I taught in the grad school of San Visayas State University. Um, and so, yeah, the module is all about thesis proposal writing, and the specific topic is identifying gaps in research. Then we have the learning outcomes. Upon the completion of this module, the students are expected to have understood the meaning, nature, and dynamics of the research gap and demonstrated the techniques, the processes, or the process involved in identifying a research gap. Then I proceed with the overview. The core content of this module is divided into two parts. The first addresses the question concerning the meaning, nature, and dynamics of a research gap. It also introduces the students to the importance of clearly articulating the research gap in the introduction of their thesis or research paper. And then the second part teaches the students the three effective techniques in identifying a research gap. And then I have a caveat here. I said you don't need to have any prior knowledge in research writing. All you need to have is the passion and the determination to learn the ropes in research. And after the overview, we have the activity, brainstorming. I will ask, or the professor will ask the student to define what a research gap is based on their prior knowledge on the topic. And then they're asked to articulate their expectations. And then in the analysis part, the professor or the lecturer will process the ideas generated from the activity. And then the students are asked to reflect on their answers. Students are then asked to articulate their expectations, and then the lecturer or the professor will brief the students about the flow of the discussion. And then in the abstraction part, the professor discusses the meaning of the research gap and why the need to articulate the research gap in the background of the study or the introduction to it. And I will not read the abstraction part, the discussion part. This is quite long, so I just copied and pasted what I have written in my course materials. That's it. I'm not sure if this is too long for a module. Yeah. And after the abstraction parts, the application. So after discussing or presenting the core concepts of a research gap and how to identify it, the students will be asked to choose a topic that they're passionate about, and then do a literature review, and then finally identify a research. I don't have preferences at the moment. Because of time. So much for now. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Sir Jeffrey. So we will hear the comments po later, since we're going to finish po all the presentations because we are short already in time. So thank you so much. Thank you again, Dr. Okay, and we will have your comments po later. And
thank you, Jeff.
Thank you. And for now po, let's hear from our presenter from the Palompon Institute of Technology, and we have po Mr. Ryan Wenceslao, sir.
Hello po, good afternoon.
Good afternoon po.
Naririnig niyo na po ako.
Yes po, loud and clear. Excuse me lang po muna, Sir Ryan. I'd like to request po, Sir, ayan na po, okay na po. So, you have the floor po, Sir Ryan.
Okay po. Nakashare na po ba yung screen ko? Hindi pa?
Hindi pa, sir.
Teka lang ha. Hindi po na screen.
We'd We'd like to request po muna Sir Okay to please stop po the screen sharing po. That's the red button para makashare po si Sir Ryan. Ayan po. Thank you so much. Sir Ryan, the screen is yours po.
Okay po. Okay na po yung screen ko. Hindi ko po ata kayo marinig eh. Teka lang ha. Wait po.
We can see your presentation na po.
Okay po. Sige, thank you. Okay pa, so good afternoon to everyone, to the different SUC presidents, organizers of this webinar series, teachers, faculty of Region 8. Magandang hapon, maupay nga pulop, mayong hapon sa tanan. I will be representing Palompon Institute of Technology. By the way, I'm Ryan Wenceslau, a faculty of the College of Sciences. I'm currently handling BA Communication subjects because I am a BA Com instructor, handling public relations, marketing communication, business correspondence, TV and radio subjects for this upcoming year. So my presentation for this afternoon is in relation to my subject, which is 9 Public Relations Principles and Practices. So my topic will be under Chapter 3, Organizational Factors for Excellent Public Relations, first semester. This will be for this coming school year. I'll be teaching third-year students, so this will be a midterm topic. So for my learning outcomes here, I have here the 3 learning outcomes, explain the different organizational factors in PR, and employ the 7 P's of marketing mix, because sa previous chapter, kasi sa chapter 1 and chapter 2, they will be asked to create their own outline for their business plan po. We output for this subject. And the third learning outcomes will be creating their own business or organization brand name and logo design using free online apps. Specific topic for this subject, we have the customer within marketing and branding. These are the specific topics. Overview. So again, this is in relation to our public relation and of course PR and the organization. So in this chapter, we'll be discussing organizational factors on how decisions via the customer and of course marketing approach, public relations on consumer relations, marketing, public relations, IMC or integrated marketing communications, and customer relationship management. So we have here some activities before we start our discussion. We have first buzz sessions. I always do this to my class before we do our current discussion. So we try to review the 2 previous chapters. Then we try to share some ideas on how we can enhance more some topics in relation to the previous chapters. And number 2, we have short presentation of previous works. Chapter 3. It is already indicated that or na-establish na natin na gumawa na sila ng kanilang design. And that organization it is or business it is, their products, vision, mission, stakeholders, and linkages. The analysis based on the presentation design are those proposals customers. So titingnan natin because our topic will touch entirely customer within marketing and branding. So the analysis part will be in relation to the previous chapter, linking it to the current chapter. So the abstract here, I've divided it into 2 separate topics, into different topics rather. We have the customer lifetime value, wherein we have here the formula for customer lifetime value. I'm also presenting to them in connection to this. However, I was not able to pull it out kasi mabilisan kasi itong presentation natin. So we have a sample for an article which will be their basis for their somewhat mini activity for this topic. After which we have the making unit, we have the marketing mix, the 7 P's of marketing mix. I was able to present to them this chart, and of course branding. After they have identified the piece in marketing, they are now able to visualize their brand name and logo, which is the face of their company or organizational outline. So we have here some different pointers, definitions, elements of branding, types of branding which can be applied for their output for this topic. Now for their application, I have two applications for them. Activity number one, they will now marketing their organizational or business outline. So dito makikita natin kung ano ba talaga yung meat ng kanilang organization because it is divided into 7. Then the next activity, once they have identified their 7 P's, which will be their guide for in creating activity number 2, which is a group activity, they will create a brand name and logo using free online applications. Now on this part, since they have already took MA Elect 1, which is digital photography, I have already taught them on how to use Adobe Photoshop and other editing tools, so it would be much easier for them to create their own unique logos. Now, for those students na wala naman pong internet connectivity or access, of course, I always bring with me some applications via phone where they can edit. Free applications po to, pwede po silang mag-edit via their phone. So it will be both be accessible to those who have internet connection for those who don't have internet connection. So we also have here video tips on logo making. I have here the website. Of course, they will be guided on how they will create their logo step by step. And of course, in grading their brand name and logo, I have here the rubric. No, I have presented here the rubric. In every output that I gave them, there's always a rubric na naka-attach. So I have here my source, no? And of course, my references. So I think that would be all for my presentation. Mabilis na, it's almost 3:30 po. So I think that would be all po for my presentation. Thank you po.
Thank you so much po, Sir Ryan. And again, that was a learning chunk for communication arts students. And stay tuned lang po tayo for our feedback later. Next on the list po is our representative from Eastern Samar State University. We have po Dr. Early Delantar. Sir, good afternoon. Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon to our resource speaker, Dr. Macalde. Here is my presentation of learning chunk for the subject geometry for teachers. I have 3 learning outcomes. The first one is for my learners to identify the undefined terms of Euclidean geometry. The second one is to state the properties of the undefined terms and to illustrate geometric ideas using concrete examples. The specific topic is the undefined terms of Euclidean geometry, which is the very first topic in the subject geometry for teachers, which means there is no need, no prerequisite knowledge that I am going to ask from my learners. So I will immediately go to my first activity, which is a graphic organizer. I will ask my learners, my students, to list things or objects. I will give them list of things or objects, and I will ask them to group according to their common characteristics or properties. The things or objects will be presented to them like ball pen, top of table, tip of pencil, curtain rod, blackboard, floor tiles, eraser, pimple, etc. The second activity is for them to state the property of each group using the concept learned in activity 1. Okay? And for analysis, after organizing the answer of my students, I will ask them what are the bases of grouping and for them to state the property. I will give them exercises leading to the following actions by using some figures. And the different actions are this. All lines and planes are sets of points. Given any 2 different points, there is exactly 1 line containing them. Given any 3 different points, not all of them collinear, there is exactly one plane containing them, and if 2 points lie in a plane, then the line containing them lies in the plane. For my abstraction, the students will be able to get the concept about geometric system, which is a mathematical system composed of points, lines, and planes, about incidence relation, which deals with the question or whether or not a point is on line or two sets intersect, and if so, how, and about collinear points and coplanar points. When do we say that points are collinear, or when do we say that points are coplanar? For my application, I will ask them to list down parts of the house and identify them, whether it's a point, a line, or plane, and state its property, because these are the three undefined terms in geometry. And I will ask them to draw their dream house and identify points, line, and plane. Thank you very much. That's my presentation of my learning chunk for geometry for teachers.
Thank you so much po. And now we can see po that there is a variety of subject areas, and I think we are going to see more po. So thank you so much po, Ma'am Early Delantar. And at this point po, may we call in Sir Josh Tixon Ortiz of Southern Leyte State University for the presentation.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon po, sir.
Okay, can you see my sample chunk? Hello? Hello? Can you still hear me?
Yes, sir. We can still hear you po, but there are a bit of noise po. I think, ayan, okay na po.
Okay, I'm so sorry for that.
That's okay po.
Okay. All right, so this is my output for this day's webinar. I put some aesthetic based on what I have learned yesterday, but I am not really, I was not able to fully create the module with all the substance in it, but let's see. All right, so this would be one of the major subject in BS Ed Math. So this would be for logic and set theory. Topic for this will be introduction to proposition and basic connectives. So for this topic, I have my learning outcome. So at the end of this module, you must be able to identify a proposition and use the different logical operators in writing sentences as compound propositions. So I have indicated yung 4A's kung saan siya nalagay, and then nag-copy-paste na muna ako from Sir sa mga pangalan ng mga activities. Let's say, for example, let's begin, and so forth. All right, so for the activity, I have two activities here. My linking statement for this will be complete the two activities so that you will be able to fully conceptualize the topic of the course. So for activity 1, so I have here a table with a given instruction. So read carefully each of the following statement in each column. Describe the nature of the statements of group A and group B. Compare the nature of the statements of the group. So I have here group A for the statements and another column for group B. So this will be the part where students will write. I'm actually confused as of now because we will be using Moodle, and I'm thinking of other activities that or features of Google that we can make use, where we can solicit ideas from the students when we are going to provide this activity. But for now, I just have this blank graph here, a table where students can write their answers to describe the nature of the two statements of the different groups. And for my second activity, I have here a table wherein all the logical operators are found with the nicknames and the arity and together with the symbols. So my instruction for this activity is to create one sentence in each of the logical operator that contains the nickname of the operator. So still the same thing. And I still have, because based on our initial training on Moodle, we have an option actually to do open forum or whatsoever to solicit ideas. So but for now, since this is a module, we're crafting the content. So what I see here is, what I have here is logical operator and the students where they are going to write the sentences with the nicknames in it. Right, and then so that's our activity part. And then for analysis part, so we're on our way. Let us talk about activity 1. The groups A and B are classified to be not proposition and proposition respectively. So what are your thoughts about when a statement can become a proposition and when it becomes not? So I have here this time, instead of group A and group B, I have here not proposition labeled, and this one would be proposition. And then this is the part where students can answer the question that I have raised here in connection with I have in my first activity. And then in continuation, in activity 2, for every sentence you have created, what is the role of the nicknames of every logical operator in the sentence itself? What's the relevance of it to express the correct meaning of the sentence? So still, they're going to write down their answer here based on the second activity for this part right here. And then let's dig deeper. For this would be the abstraction part. Now I want you to carefully read the items below to help you fully understand the topic we have on propositions and its basic connectives. I just included here a few of the topics because it might be quite lengthy to be presented now. So I just have it here. What is the definition of proposition? And then first that I have here would be conjunction operator. I have some brief definition of conjunction, and then I provided examples to fully understand what is that. And then so forth and so on. So after the topics are being included right there, I go now to my application. So how far have we gone? So let's try your understanding. Create sentences based from the compound propositions in each item using the given proposition. So I have here the different propositions, and they're going to create sentences out of it, send it by references. And that would be all. Thank you.
Thank you so much po, Sir John. And Sir, I'd like to ask po again because I didn't get it. The audience po natin for this lesson po is?
The topic is Introduction to Proposition and Basic Connectives.
Okay. So thank you so much, sir, and heaps of thanks. And of course, we now have our representative coming from the University of Eastern Philippines. Can we hear po from Sir Alejandro Giray Jr.? Sir?
How do I wait for a while? Stop sharing.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes po, sir. We can hear you clearly po.
Okay, thank you.
We can see the presentation, sir.
Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So this is Alejandro L. Hiray Jr. from the University of Eastern Philippines. So we're going to present on the Dale's Cone of Experience. So this is part of the ICT models in the subject Technology for Teaching and Learning 1, a subject offered to teacher education, particularly on BE Ed, BS Ed, and other education programs. So again, so the lesson is on Dale's cone of experience. So learning outcomes, so indicated here are two LOs, identify the bands of Dale's cone of experience, and exploring on the Dale's learning experiences and the use of technology in learning process. So considering the format given on the 4As, the first activity is uh, 4 picks 1 word, no? So this was sabi pang sikat noon, ano, during ng mga past few years as applications. So ito yung initial na activity na ibibigay. So given yung mga pictures na yan, they're going to look into a particular terminology or terminologies related to the subject, looking into this.
Ma'am Hana?
Yes po. Nakabati mo. Can everyone po hear me po?
Yes, we can hear you.
Ay,
But the presenter, nawala po yung presenter.
Yes, okay, sir. So I think there are technicalities po. So we have to check on it po. So at this time po, can we have, is NWSSU ready na po? Ay, sir.
Nawala ako.
Yes, sir.
Yung
Sir
signal kasi
Alejandro
dito.
is... Okay lang, sir. So you could have the screen again, sir.
Ay, yung signal kasi dito on and off.
Okay lang po, sir.
Parang relasyon lang on and off. Anyway. Okay, so again, I'm going to continue. So the first is yung activity, yung 4 picks 1 word. So these are on terminologies related to the Dale's cone of experience. Next is on analysis. In this
Sir Alejandro, are you still there po? Oh, okay. I think there is something wrong with with the internet connection po of our representative coming from University of Eastern Philippines. So we'll get back to you po, sir, in just a short while. But could we please po have first the Northwest Samar State University's presentation po, and Ma'am Christy Carpon, are you there po?
Ma'am, I'm done na po yung first presenter.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, we are done again po with, so let's get to our next presenters na po. Is Leyte Normal University ready na po for their presentation?
Yes po.
Okay. Good afternoon po, sir. Robert G. Peñar of Leyte Normal University. You may take the
Yes
screen,
po. Good
sir.
afternoon.
Good
Yes po.
afternoon.
Okay. Am I audible po? Can
Yes
you
po,
clearly hear
sir.
me?
Loud and clear.
Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you very much, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone, from this Zoom room and to the other platforms where uh, this webinar is reached. I am Mr. Robert G. LPNR, an instructor of the Languages and Literature Unit of the College of Education or the College of Arts and Sciences of Leyte Normal University, Tacloban City. So I'd be presenting to you an extract from the course, among the lessons in the course, teaching and assessment of grammar, with the prerequisite course, principles and theories of language acquisition and learning. And this is a 3-unit course offered by the university under the College of Education to second year PSETs or pre-service English teachers or second year English majors of LNU. This is actually offered based on the prospectus or curriculum of the university in the first semester or every semester of the academic year. So we will be talking about one module chunk taken from the course Teaching and Assessment of Grammar. So module 1, we uh, we chose error correction mechanism and giving feedback. The module overview says correcting errors is an integral part of teaching, but teachers are often unsure how to treat students' mistakes. If they correct too often or too much, students may get discouraged and lose confidence and motivation. If they let errors go uncorrected, students may never learn how to speak or write correctly. In Module 1, we will look closely at various error correction strategies and discuss how we can help our students notice their own mistakes and encourage self correction. So, learning outcomes to this module topic are the following. By the end of this module, you will be able to identify types of errors students make, evaluate from a practical or empirical perspective or observations the suitability of error correction techniques for different teaching contexts, use appropriately a range of error correction techniques, and formulate your error correction policy and provide justifications grounded in the course reading. So as a preview to the platform that this module will be using or utilizing can actually use both digital and conventional print um, platforms or modes. For the digital or internet-based or technology-driven, we can use Canvas or Moodle and similar digital platforms. For conventional print, we can actually print uh, the module and distribute to the students. Let me begin with strolling down memory lane, and this is equal to the activity, the first A of the 4 A's. As speakers of English as an additional or second language, you are in a unique position. You can gain invaluable insights both from your learning experience and mock teaching practices or practice, since these are pre-service English teachers. In this task, we invite you to go back to the past and try to recall how you viewed error correction as a student and as a future English teacher. So there are two activities given in the first part. The first part is a table where the student would complete error correction technique or techniques that they know, or they remember based on their reflection, and how these error correction, I'm sorry, that's correction, and how these error correction techniques impact to their communicative or communicative competence, that is their linguistic, strategic, discourse, and social linguistic competence, respectively. And then these reflections will be brought into discussion. So in activity 2, the students will complete the following sentences and post them in the discussion forum, or maybe in the discussion forum in case of a digitally aided platform, for example, Canvas or Moodle or Google Classroom and the likes. And in case naman po for conventional print, then we can allocate or provide a space down for their answers. So, subscribing to CBI or content-based instruction approach, we provided um, linguistic cues wherein students uh, could answer using the following phrases or sentence phrases or signal phrases. For example, when the teacher corrected my spoken language, I felt that. When my classmates corrected my mistakes, I felt that. Or the most useful error correction technique for me was when, because. So activity 1 is clearly connected and scaffolded through activity 2. Now going to the second A, which is the second A of the 4 A's, which we dubbed as think and reflect. From the responses of your classmates and your own experiences, reflect on the following questions and share your answers on the discussion forum. Does the mistake affect communication? Are we concentrating on accuracy at the moment? Why did the student or students make the mistake? Is it something the students have already learned? Or is this the mistake that several students are making? So from that reflection, we bring the students through the module to the kind of error correction that normally or usually works, well, pedagogically works in the classroom. Nowadays, most practitioners and researchers seem to agree that correcting grammar errors in a supportive way is of value, but that effect of error correction may be impacted by contextual factors and individual differences. So in this task, you will examine research findings on error correction, read about error correction strategies, and discuss what correction techniques may work for your students, since this module caters English majors, would be teachers of English. Teachers know that making mistakes is an integral part of learning. They also know that students can learn from their mistakes. What is less clear to the teacher is what needs to be done to make this learning happen. So what kind of error correction works in the language classroom? In order to answer this question, we should start by establishing why students make mistakes. So in his book, Mistakes and Correction by Jolyon Edge, we suggested that students make mistakes for 4 particular reasons. So these reasons are given synopsis, so that students would know why students commit errors, especially when they produce language or the target language, which is English. And finally, he suggests that people make mistakes because they are in a hurry or as a sign of carelessness in the linguistic production. And these errors are described in the module as well as a prelude or a prologue to the discussion of error treatment mechanisms as designed or opined by TEDIC. So the three types of errors are slips, errors, and attempts. So they have to understand first what an error is and the different forms of errors that we commit when we speak the target language. So these are slips, errors, and attempts. However, Julian reminds us about the importance of selective and meaningful response to student errors. Not every mistake needs to be corrected, and it is the teacher who makes the decision to correct. If we change the term error correction to language feedback, then the nature of the corrective intervention changes. So the purpose of giving language feedback is to improve learner performance. Effective feedback provides constructive advice and guidance to learners in their effort to improve their performance level. So from the handful reflections that we had at the onset of the module, we will reinforce the reflections with TEDx error treatment mechanisms, or the error correction feedback mechanisms, and giving language error correction treatment and giving language feedback, or giving feedback to errors. So these are the different error treatments. Let's look at them more closely. So generally, students would just read the types of error treatment mechanisms with given examples. For example, explicit correction. The teacher indicates that a student make a mistake and offers the correct answer. For example, S stands for the student and T is for the teacher. So this is an exchange between the student and the teacher, and this episodic situation will uh, place the student as the learner of the module in context as regards explicit correction. So do with the rest of the different error treatment mechanisms, like recast, clarification request, metalinguistic clues, elicitation, repetition. After that, now that you have seen the different mechanisms in correcting errors and giving feedback, share your answers on the following questions in the discussion board. So, which error should be corrected? Why should they be corrected immediately or later? Who should correct errors? Is it the teacher, the students who made the error, or the students? And in the Philippine context, um, supposing that you are a teacher, a secondary teacher, both in the junior high and the senior high school, so what error correction techniques would work for your students then, and why? What error corrections would not work even for your students, and why do you say so? And then for the last part of the 4As, we will bring them to we will bring their learning inputs, which are the error correction mechanisms and giving feedback, to the last part. In this activity, you will have the opportunity to discuss with some of your classmates reasons why you would choose one type of error correction over another. So supposing that this module is aired through Canvas or Moodle, so they would have an opportunity or avenue to interact with their classmates, since those mentioned digital or internet-based or technology-driven learning application, have features that uh, can connect some of the students. You can actually group them like group A, group B, or section 1, section 2, depending on the strategies that would allow you. Then analyze the different classroom situations and decide, would you correct the error? When would you correct it? How would you correct it? How could you respond to the student so that he or she felt comfortable to continue discussing class concepts and experimenting with expressions in English? So develop a response to each situation, grounding your response in the readings. Share your responses with your discussion group and comment on at least one another post. So again, in a digitally aided platform, uh, they can make they can communicate with each other through typing and posting. However, for conventional print, the teacher has to facilitate and make way on how he or she or the teacher can allow students can allow feedback or feedbacking. So these are the situations. Situation one, you're doing a grammar drill to practice the present perfect tense. You ask, have you ever been to the beach? And then the student responds, I went to the beach on Greece last year. Situation two, situation three, situation four, and situation five. So the students are to develop a response to each situation, grounding their responses or your responses in the readings above. And then you have to share your responses with the discussion group, comment on at least one other post. You can actually, the teacher who is assigned to teach this course may modify some of the instructional practices that would cater the needs further of their students. Like you can actually present a situationer, one situationer, and then maybe they have to play as linguistic detective since they will become English majors and detect the errors, the kind of error uh, correction mechanism or feedback they're going to use. So it depends now on the uh, teacher or the subject or the course teacher. Then we have provided here the references, the suggested readings. Our suggested readings are taken from local, national, and foreign readings. So these readings are reinforcement readings to error correction mechanism and giving feedback. That is all. Thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so
And good
much
afternoon.
po. That was again Sir Robert Pianyor of Leyte Normal University. And Sir Robert G, if
Yes
you
po.
could po, and for other presenters po kanina, could we send po our file, yung presentation natin, to Dr. Macalde po privately in the Zoom group chat so that we would not we would have an easier facilitation po later during the critiquing po. And we are down to our two more. Thank you, sir. And we are down to our two more presentations. That is from BIPSU and our student onboarding committee, which will also share their learning chunks. And we are sorry po, but I think some areas of summer is also experiencing intermittent internet connection. That is why Dr. Alejandro was interrupted earlier. So, but we will try to get back on Dr. Alejandro later na po. So, for now, let's proceed to the presentation of Biliran Province State University. We have Mr. Paul Matthew Bentor. Sir, good afternoon.
Hello, ma'am. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Permission
sir.
to share
Yes, po.
my screen. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes, po, we can see the presentation, sir.
Okay, thank you. So good afternoon, everyone. I am Paul Bentor from Biliran Province State University. I am under the School of Technology and Computer Studies. So this is my output for the workshop. This is for the subject programming languages. It's a third year subject, and basically the students will have already a working knowledge about programming languages. So the topic that I chose is the very first topic for Module 1. And these are the learning outcomes. So we have define what is programming language and differentiate programming language from natural language. So for the subject, it will be delivered through LMS. So I will be using Moodle. Actually, on the previous semester, we used to do it face-to-face with a combination of LMS. But for this incoming semester, we will be using LMS. So how will I deliver this topic? I will be creating videos, instructional videos, and also be conducting synchronous session through Google Meet. And Zoom or maybe FB rooms. So for the overview, we have here, welcome to module 1. So I'm just not going to read everything to save time. So for the activity, for this part, the first activity, I'll be creating a video with this content. And then after which, at the end, I will be asking the students to do a quick search using Google, and then after which they will provide their answers through Padlet, which is a sort of a bulletin board applet. Let me just show you an example. Um, okay, is it showing up? So this is Padlet, and through here, students will be able to comment their answers, and then the students would also be able to comment or provide feedback to the answers of their classmates. Then going back, let me just reshare again. So for the analysis, it will be done through, again, a synchronous session. I'll be doing either Google Meet meeting or through FB rooms. And this will be the outline of the discussion. So I will not read everything. So after which, after we conduct the analysis, there will be another video about additional information for the abstraction. And then once that's done, on the video itself, there will be an instruction for the application. And this will be how the application part will be done. So it will be another activity using Padlet. And this is the link here. And then you'll be able to post the answers through Padlet. So let me just show you how this will be delivered to them. I have actually a sample Moodle server. Let me just transfer. Okay, so this is a sample Moodle course, and they will be able to access the contents of the course, and actually you'll be able to do a lot of things here. You can add contents, you can add links, videos. Now, for my activities, it could actually be done on Moodle also. You could create forums there, but based on my experience, it's actually better to use multiple applications so that the students' interest will be there. I mean, it provides a better, much more challenging activity if you use multiple applications aside from just using Moodle. And that will be all for my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sir Paul Matthew Ventor of Biliran Province State University po. And now we are done to our last presentation po before we go to our critiquing. And remind ko lang po again, for the presentations earlier po and with Sir Paul Matthew Ventor's presentation, can we send it lang po directly to Dr. Macalde so that we may have a good facilitation of the critiquing later. Thank you so much po. And at this point, I would like to call in po our Student Onboarding Committee to share their learning chunks. Sir, good afternoon po.
Hello, good afternoon. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir. Nakikita po.
Okay, thank you so much for giving us the opportunity. We are from the Students Onboarding Program for students at all levels. This is intended for incoming freshmen up to the graduating students, because our assumption that during the first semester, all of them will undergo the flexible learning modality. And this is intended to be given to our students just like a subject or a course. However, this is a non-credit course, and this will be incorporated in the learning management system of our respective SUCs. So there are, initially, we have identified 8 modules. And the last module is, we call it module ITV2. And it is called Ethical Practices for Class Requirements Production. So, by the way, our apologies for this. This has been made in a haste. We just organized our group discussion this afternoon at past 1 o'clock, so we can catch the presentation because we wanted to have an output for this. Okay, so these are the learning outcomes. At the end of the module, you are expected to have defined cheating, plagiarism, and other forms of intellectual dishonesty, to explain the importance of ethical practices for class requirements production, and 3, demonstrated understanding on the ethical practices for class requirement production. So for the overview, after having journeyed into the concept of online class etiquette, by the way, the module prior to this is ITV1 called Online Class Etiquette. We will now proceed to ITV2 module on ethical practices for class requirements production. Your understanding on the concepts of ethical practices will pave the way for the meaningful and successful implementation of the flexible learning program. It is our utmost desire that this material will guide and help you to better understand and apply the ethical practices for class requirements production under the flexible learning modality. In this way, we will prevent the prevalence of cheating online, plagiarism, data privacy, and other ethical issues. So for our activity, we will, this is for finalization. This is not yet, this is still rough again, no? So we will give a short, like a quiz, but this is not graded again. So we will ask this question, what is cheating? And then we will let them give other forms of cheating. And then for plagiarism, we will distribute parts of a research paper, and then we will let them highlight the phrase or paragraph that is plagiarized from the internet, and they can add comments using the MS Word function. And then for data privacy, we will have this true or false, so that we will be able to get, we can assess where the student is as of this time. And then for analysis, we will let the students identify the attributes of a responsible student and how he or she could be an anti-cheating, anti-plagiarism, or anti-fraud advocate. And for abstraction, initially, some of the members were able to provide inputs for abstraction. So we have here what is cheating, then what is plagiarism, what is data privacy, and then we will also introduce to the students the policies of the SUC related to cheating, because we have different student handbooks, and we have different forms of penalties, no, for the offenses related to this intellectual dishonesty. So anyway, it will be customized depending on the SUC on this part of the module. And then we will have a lecture on understanding the ethical practices in class requirements production. For instance, we will discuss how to produce an acceptable class requirement, and also the prompt submission of acceptable class requirements through the learning management system. And for application, we will request the students to make a simple action plan. Simple lang, and that he or she will undertake to prevent all forms of cheating and other ethical issues. And then for the further readings and assignment, we will let the students read the students' manual of the respective SUCs. I think that's all. That's all that we can provide you as of this time, because at present there is no existing special modules that we will use for the student onboarding. Thank you.
Thank you so much po, Sir Ramirez. And ladies and gentlemen, it's time po to hear na po the comments and suggestions of Dr. Macalde on the presentations that we had for earlier. So we would like to request po Dr. Sir Alejandro of University of Eastern Philippines po. You could share na lang po the presentation po sa ating Zoom group chat so that Dr. Macalde could also comment on it. Thank you so much po. So ladies and gentlemen, we welcome on screen again Dr. Juan Robertino Macalde.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm actually overwhelmed. I did not realize that you can actually produce a module for quite a very little time. Special mention sa LNU. Nagulat ako actually sa ating presenter from LNU. Parang hindi ko na kailangan turuan actually. Very comprehensive in the sense na parang binigay na niya yung buong module. I'm quite surprised parang given the very limited time na buo lahat yung buo na yung module. The rest on the other hand, again, congratulations. It's actually not easy. It's not an easy task that for all of you to just create a module out of scratch. Siguro ang ma-comment ko, part of it, please take note of your learning outcomes. Ang thinking po parati kasi whatever you provide in your learning outcomes, lalabas po siya sa application ninyo. Or rather, ilagay nyo po yung nga po sinasabi nga ni Dr. Ed Morato sa kanyang BM Okra Peace Patres, yung po sinasabing right to left planning. Think of your final outcome again bago po ilabas yung inyong mga learning outcomes. So i-assume nyo po agad sa inyong module ano ba yung ine-expect ko sa isang learner pagkatapos makuha yung course ko or itong subject nito. So that forms part of your learning outcomes. At the same manner, yun po ang lalabas sa inyong application dun sa dulo. Ingat po tayo sa mga terminologies din. Napansin ko yung iba pong learning outcomes medyo naiiba po yung ibig sabihin. Minsan kailangan po nating idiretso ano ba yung talagang gusto nating mangyari. Better to use action words. Guided, meron pong guide si Bloom's Taxonomy, meron po ngayon na ginagamit na Bloom's Taxonomy for online learning delivery. Meron pong mga terminologies na gano'n. We can look at them as opposed to the face-to-face Bloom's Taxonomy na mga verbs po ng mga terminologies. Napansin ko din po, some of the activities are a bit vague. Dadagdagan lang po tulad ng comment ko po sa earlier discussions. Dadagdagan po natin ng mga linking words or sentences para po pumasok tayo sa susunod na topic. Natuwa din po ako sa presentation ng BIPSU. Specifically, as he said, very modern din po ang thinking. Natutuwa ako kanina that he mentioned about use of Padlet and the use of other things. So parang, again, na-realize po natin, parang talagang na-realize natin that these are our learners. The millennials and the Generation Z, talagang ito yung mga hinahanap. Ayaw nila yung mga paulit-ulit. As much as possible, gusto nila yung mga exciting information. And then, yun nga po, minsan sabi nga natin, tayo pa nga ang nalilate when it comes to technology. Mas updated pa sila. So, they're actually looking at the same. Pag pinakitaan natin sila ng mga simple terms or simple activities, minsan nabobore po sila. So maganda po. I think I mentioned it earlier, there's a Microsoft study as regards gaming na sinabi po ng isang expert during a Senate hearing. Sabi nga niya, 1 minute lang daw po ang kailangan. Yun lang po ang attention span ng mga learners ngayon. So within that 1 minute, dapat po makuha natin agad yung attention ng learner para po magtuloy-tuloy siya. Otherwise po, yun nga po, sabi natin, mapapasok po siya sa boredom. Special mention din po sa mga nagpadala ng modules nila. Natutuwa po ako, very exciting po yung mga topic. Some of them I'm actually not familiar, but yung nang mabasa ko po yung module niyo, parang more or less unti-unti ko nakikilala yung topic area. That's why I'm very particular. One of the questions parati pong sinasabi ko during the first presentation, sino po yung audience nyo? ano po yung assumption doon sa audience nyo. That's very specific. That's very important po. Ano yung ine-expect natin sa ating audience? Sino sila? Ano yung prior learning information na dapat meron sila before they commit na tapusin itong subject ko or topic na to na introduce ko in a modular format. So yun po. Linking po. So, ulitin ko lang po Take note of our learning outcomes. Use po na mga Bloom's taxonomy verbs po na specifically para sa mga online. Meron na pong Bloom's taxonomy verbs na ginagamit for online learning outcomes. Second, take note of the linking. Linking po, may mga links po na dapat natin before we proceed to the others. May napansin din pa ako earlier, sorry I forgot it already, pero meron pong isa dyan kanina na may nakita pa ako na yung marami siyang activity and then parang one shot analysis po yung nangyari. Ang suggestion ko po, para po hindi mawala yung attention, hindi mawala yung ating approach dun sa ating mga learners. Once you identify an activity, always make sure po na gawan po natin ang analysis ng activity. Or rather, kung marami po kayong activity, provide a one big analysis of all the activities para po hindi mapuputol yung pong tinatawag nating 4A's of learning. Parati po yun, okay lang po ulit-ulitin yun, basta parati po natatapos sa application. So paikot-ikot sa continuous learning. That's why nga po, that's rounded po yung presentation ng 4A's of learning. May napansin din po ako, merong isang instruction. Some of the instructions, sabi nga po natin, self-instructional modules. Ang instruction po, never use the words po they or you, they are or he is. Parang gano'n po. Always po na let's think na kausap natin po yung nagbabasa ng module. So, diretso po. First person point of view, you are expected to prepare this. You are expected to develop this. Mga ganun po, diretso po tayo na kinakausap. Parang kinakausap natin yung learner. Yun po ang thinking natin parati. Para po yung interest niya, matuloy-tuloy po siya. And then, yeah, I think that's, po. Congratulations everyone. It takes us around 2 days po actually kung gagawin po itong face-to-face. Pero kayo po, took you around less than a day to come up with very interesting modules, very interesting topics. I hope tuloy-tuloy nga po ito. Take that as an example. Yung iba po sa inyo na medyo advanced na rin po, it would be good din po to share, to let others see how your module looks like para po mas strengthen po yung ating module development, specifically yung ating pong flexible learning classes. So at this point po siguro, after this module development, nagawa nyo na yung materials nyo, tulad po ng pinakita ko kanina sa earlier slides ko sa first part ng presentation, it's high time to look at your implementation plan. And if I'm not mistaken, this would be part of the discussions po sa mga susunod na webinars dito sa ating pong consortium. So with that, thank you very much po. Thank you everyone. Thank you for listening. Thank you for contributing to the success of this session. Yun po.
Thank you so much, sir. It's really wow, Eastern Visayas, and we really had a jam-packed session this afternoon. Thank you so much again, Dr. Macalde, for sharing your expertise to Eastern Visayas and sharing your insights, inputs on our presentations. Thank you again po. And as much as we would like to entertain po all the questions that we still have here, I think we have a limited time na po. So you can send them naman po and we will try to answer them if we still can. But at the moment po, as the consortium in Eastern Visayas appreciation, we would like to hand over po the certificate to be presented by the Chair of the Content Development Committee of the Eastern Visayas HEI FLMSC and the President of Leyte Normal University, Dr. Jude Duarte.
Good afternoon, everyone. Director of Cheddar Donate, Dr. Marlene Cardoso of SSU, our good friend, resource speaker this afternoon, today, Dr. Robbie, university officials from different SUPs in Region 8, participants, good afternoon. Allow me to read the citation first. The certificate of recognition is presented to Dr. Juan Robertino Macalde for his invaluable service as a resource speaker during the training workshop on course modules production for flexible learning in higher education institutions webinar series on June 11 to 12, 2020. The certificate is given this 12th day of June in year of the Lord 2020. Signed, Dr. Norberto C. Olavides, President, PIT. Dr. Jude Duarte, President, LNU. Dr. Victor Canizzo Jr., President of BIPSO. Dr. George Colorado, Director of CHED Region 8, and our dear Commissioner, Dr. Aldrin A. Darilag. I'd like to thank Dr. Robbie for your time and sharing your expertise among the different SUCs here in the region. Thank you very much.
Thank you po. Thank you for the recognition po. I'm glad to be, I'm honored to be invited po ng consortium.
Thank you.
Congratulations po for this very successful webinar as well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much po, Dr. Jude Duarte, and praises and thanks again po to Dr. Macalde. Any words po before we set up po, Dr. Macalde?
Again, congratulations po sa consortium. Tuloy-tuloy po despite everything what's happening now. But I'm very sure, given this, ayoko na pong sabihin pa ulit-ulit yung new normal. Marami nang naiinis po sa word na new normal. Actually, sabi nga po ni Secretary kagabi, alam na natin yung ginagawa po natin. It's just that we do not have the opportunity. And I believe this is the right time. So again, thank you very much to everyone for contributing to this wonderful session and for your very active participation, especially po yung mga presenters. Given a very tight schedule, you came up with very interesting modules and excellent as well. Thank you very much, and tuloy-tuloy lang po tayo. Just call on us wherever you want us. You interested, we'll be willing to help everyone sa atin pong mga partners, sa atin pong mga university. It's been an honor.
All praises po for Dr. Macalde. And at this point, let us heed po for the reminders. Let me share my screen. So we are still at June 17. We still have another discussion of Dr. Marilyn Ubinia Balagtas on the Designing Student-Centered Assessment in Flexible Learning. That is at 9 a.m. tomorrow po. And we have another webinar, incoming webinar on June 19, Friday by Dr. Robbie Marlina. And yes po, this is a heads up. Ito na po ang ating link and the QR code for today's attendance. If you have a QR code reader, you can scan po the code or you can copy the link found on your screen. So, in behalf po of the consortium, we would also like to thank the efforts of the committees, the Committee on Content Development, Leyte Normal University and Palompon Institute of Technology, the Committee on Training and Capacity Building of Southern Leyte State University and Visayas State University. A lot of thanks po to the Committee on Technology, Infrastructure and Support of Samar State University and Eastern Visayas State University. For monitoring and assessment, we have University of Eastern Philippines and the Northwest Samar State University, and the Policy Development and Agreement by the Biliran Province State University together with Eastern Samar State University. So to share your feedback, comments po on the webinars, kindly visit the link we have provided on the screen. So ladies and gentlemen, I think we can call it a day, and despite the increasing number here in our province of COVID positive cases, always remember po that we have each other's back, and as we say it, we heal as one and we learn as one. Padayon Eastern Visayas. Thank you po and God bless.